Welcome, guys. Welcome once again. We have a couple of more people joining in. Others might be just joining in. So we learned how to create a database. Learned how to create tables within that database, insert record, update record, delete records. Okay. Now what we are going to see is all that we have seen is with respect to the operations that we can perform on the data with respect to insert, update, and delete. Now, what are the different operations we can perform when we want to extract data from the database? So this is one syntax that you can use when you want to select a specific set of records from the table. Select star from customers, that asterisk will give you all records from the customer table. Remember, asterisk is used whenever you want all records. Now, if you want just specific columns to be displayed, like customer name and city, just two columns. So in Excel sheet, what we do, there might be 20 different columns. I want to see, I want to send my manager just two columns. I will hide all of those columns, right? The other column. Here, what we do is we say select. Select is the command, guys. Remember, when we are using the command select, what we are doing is we are extracting some information from the table for display purpose. Select customer name and city from customers table will display you only these two columns. So similarly, whatever columns you need from a particular table, you just have to give the name of the column, comma, the other columns that you need. Every column names should be separated by a comma. Simple syntax. Great. Now, we can add some more complexity to the same select state. Let's say I want to select all records. I want to see records of the customers who belong to the country Mexico. Only Mexico, no other countries. Then I do select star from customers where country equal to Mexico. So this is using the where clause. Like you all mentioned, where clause is used as a conditional filter. Now look at the second query. Select product name from product master where price is greater than or equal to 4,000. What will this show me? What will be the what will be the output of the second query? Values between that number. Which between that number? No, I'm talking about the second query, not the third one, where price is greater than or equal to 4,000. So all products that are having a price greater than 4,000 or equal to 4,000 will be displayed here. Okay, names of all the products, only names. The third query obviously will show you all the products which are having a price range between 1,000 to 2,000. So here in the third query, I want you to see I'm using a new operator which is called the between operator. So you can inject in your select query, you can inject various operators and filter your records further. These operators work exactly the same way as you might observe in a particular search engine. If you have searched for a particular product on the Amazon website, search results are displayed to you. And along with the search results, a set of criteria is displayed on the left-hand side panel. Filter products based on their price range, based on the model, based on the brand. And you can apply any of those filters and further narrow down your search results. That's the select query. And then we have the following operators that can be used jointly with these with the select queries. Let's say, for example, you do a select distinct country from customers. Now, the distinct clause is used to show you unique values from a particular table. So, country is the name of, customer is the name of the table. What I'm saying is, now in the customer table, there might be multiple occurrences of a particular country. There might be several records belonging to India, several records for United States, several for United Kingdom. So this particular query will show only one value for a particular country. Select distinct country, which will show one value. It will show a list of countries that this particular table is having records of the India geography, United States, United Kingdom, and any other country that is there. So distinct it's used to do that. When you have duplicate values, you can run a distinct clause. Then and or not. These kind of operators are used as joining operators, like in an AND clause. Look at the query that's written over here. Select star from customer where country equal to Germany and city equal to Berlin. So where I'm saying that put an additional filter, show me customers from the country where country is Germany and they belong to city Berlin city. Okay? Further filter I apply. So I use the and. That means I'm further extending the where clause to add more filters to it. Now, or clause you can use in the same way. Suppose you wanted to see two cities, customers from Berlin as well as customers from Britain. Okay, if you want to see two cities, then use an or clause. And similarly, the not one. The example of not one. What will it fetch, guys? Tell me. The not operator. What is it going to show you? Records. Yes. It will show you all records for all the countries except Germany. It will remove records from Germany and show you other countries. This is great. Now we have also a clause called as the order by clause. Order by clause is used to do a sorting operation. Okay. Sorting operation, by that what we mean, simple in Excel sheet we can sort the data in ascending and descending order, right? The same thing we can do if you want to sort it based on descending order. We give this DESC, we indicate that. If you want to do ascending, ASC. So select star from customers. Order by country is going to say that country ko sort out karo, okay? Or sort out the country field in the descending order and show us records. These are all the different SQL commands that we learn. Select, update, delete, create. Create for creating a database as well as creating a new table. And the last one, drop. There is a drop command which deletes an entire table. So we should be extremely careful before using this drop command, because all your data values will be lost as well as the table structure also will be lost once you use drop. That will delete an entire table. So these are a set of important SQL commands, guys. Everyone clear on the SQL commands? If you're clear, type CL in the chat box, guys, before I proceed. Was it easy or was it difficult? Yes. So these are a set of SQL commands that can be frequently used by functions. Now, like I said, SQL can get very, very technical. So we also have operators which can use to join two tables and connect to tables and extract records. Joining operators are there. There are inner joins, outer joins. That gets a slightly little complex. I would suggest if you are a functional BA, if you want to join several tables and extract data, take the help of a technical person to do that. That will always, if you're from a non-technical background, this approach will help you extract data in a much better way. Otherwise, just keep yourself limited to these basic English commands that are there in SQL. Then there are a lot of things like triggers and procedures. Those are pure hardcore technical things which will be handled by your DBA. You don't need not worry about that. Okay. So tomorrow I will show you how we can play around with a tool running all these commands. Okay. Now today, let me go back to the competencies chapter. We left the competencies chapter where we were discussing the behavioral characteristics. Okay, we'll discuss that. And then we will discuss about some core techniques that are used in advanced level business analysis. So along after behavioral characteristics, One category that is indicated is the business knowledge. I'm in page number. Let me show you the page number of BA work. Page number 187. The next category of competencies that are displayed in BA work is business knowledge. Now tell me, what's your understanding of business knowledge, guys? What's your understanding of business knowledge? What kind of business knowledge does a BA need to have? Yes, they're talking about the domain knowledge. So we all know as a functional BA, domain knowledge is crucial in our. Okay. Now, if any of you had attended in one of the inner circle calls, one of my students had presented how she had approached the domain knowledge area. That's a good recording that's available as part of our career growth funnel bundle. In that, she has elaborated that although she was an entry level BA, many of you who are in entry level positions have a fear that when I get into a project, I don't know the customer's business, I don't know the customer's domain. How will I add value? So in that case, when you are starting at ground zero, when you get into a project, you will have to one particular technique that's actively used by my student is research technique. You will have to do research on that particular domain to collect information about what kind of applications exist in that domain space. Okay. So that is a starting point for you. Understand, organizations don't expect you to be a subject matter expert. So they give you that particular freedom. Nobody asks you to start giving suggestions to the customer day one. Business knowledge, although it's crucial to our role, this knowledge can grow only as your seniority in the organization grows. As you keep on working from one project to the other in the same domain, then you slowly start accumulating your domain knowledge. So that's the business knowledge that they speak about. Then they speak about communication skills. How many of you feel communication skills is very, very vital in our role? I agree if you feel that communication skills is vital in our role. Very crucial. Again, why? Why is it vital? Because us is a customer facing role and involves a lot of stakeholder management. We can't be good in stakeholder management if we do not have communication skills, right? And when we talk about communication skills, I'm not only talking about verbal communication, I'm talking about non-verbal, written communication, and your listening skills. Okay, so there are four aspects to it: verbal, non-verbal, written, and listening skills. Communication skills consist of all of this. Tell me what I mean by non-verbal. Verbal, everybody knows. Tell me non-verbal means what? What is that? Correct. Exactly, guys. Non-verbal clues in all your body language, your gestures, the way you respond to questions. All of that is non-verbal. And why is non-verbal so? Yes, cues. That's the correct word. Yes. And why is non-verbal so important? Because as a BA, we are the people who are facilitating meetings with customer. So we will be organizing those meetings. We will be driving those meetings to complete. So our customer, when he is explaining to us a particular requirement, they are very observant of the fact of how much we are understanding that particular requirement. You'll see that when you start playing the role of a BA, most of the customers, uh, especially US and UK customers, I've seen, they are very good in observing you and understanding whether you are getting what they really want. If you're a BA, you must have already experienced this. So they keep observing your body language gestures to understand whether you're simply saying a yes or whether you actually get it. That's the reason it is very, very essential. Even when we are making a presentation to the customer, how confident you are in that particular presentation. Again, a lot of your body language, your gestures talk about your confidence level in that particular topic. Okay? So you don't need to be so conscious of the fact. Like for example, when I give a presentation, I normally I don't fine tune my mind that I should be using my hands in a particular way. I should talk like this, like that. I just go normally and speak in my usual confident tone. And you'll understand many times when I'm speaking also I make some mistakes. I think, okay, I'm sorry, this is what I meant. That's pretty normal. So it's okay. There is nobody's going to um, stop you for that, for the mistake, so for that one line of mistake that you made or anything. But uh, always when you are dealing with different stakeholders, you'll see that they are very keen observers to see if the person they are interacting with is able to understand their requirements or not. That is the reason the non-verbal part of it plays a very crucial role. And it plays a crucial role, especially if you are in face-to-face with your customer. Hmm? And then comes the written communication, of course. Written communication should be very clear and concise from the BA's side. From if I look at my written communication itself, from the time I was a beginner BA to the time I became a lead BA and then an associate practice manager, I have seen a greater level of improvement, even in terms of writing simple mails to the customers. I have seen that during the beginning stages of my career, my mails to the customers should not be very clear. He used to just read and get back to me and say, just reply back to them. What exactly do you mean by point number two? Point number one is fine with me. What exactly do you mean by point number two? So, as a practice, what I used to do is, when this started occurring again and again, uh, I started observing my own mails. Why is point number two or point number four, whatever he has mentioned, why is it not clear to him? I started reading my emails and I figured out there are some gaps in the sentences that I'm framing, which is not making it clearer to the person. This is how slowly by slowly I improved that communication also. One thing that you can practice. Your email communication as well as your documentation. As you keep on improving this, both these written communication, you will see that alone will lead to a greater amount of clarity within the project in terms of requirements. So that's written communication. And then I said listening. Why do you think BA should be a very good listener, guys? Tell me. We spoke about verbal communication and all. We agree with it. But listening, it's okay. We all listen, right? Why is that being highlighted in the doc? What do you think? Yes, of course, we have to capture, understand requirements. That's definitely there. Let me tell you a story for this. During my early stages of my career as a BA, I was deployed in one particular project where I was working hand in hand with a senior BA. Okay? So when I was working hand in hand with the senior BA, now the senior BA had very good communication skills, much better than me because I was just a beginner. So in most of the meetings used to be driven by the senior BA. He used to drive the meetings, and I used to play a very supporting role. Hmm. So it so happened in one particular instance that he had to go on an unplanned leave, and there were some back-to-back requirements meetings scheduled, and for him it was an emergency at home. So he asked me to hold the fort for him for some time, and I agreed. I said, okay, no problem. I will go ahead with the meetings. So during one such meeting, the first set of meetings that I was a bit anxious. Naturally, I was driving the meeting alone. So I got into the meeting room and told the customer, apologized, saying that my senior BA is not here because he had such and such an emergency. So I hope you don't mind I taking this meeting ahead. So they said that's all right. For us, it's good that he's not there. Sajna, just sit down. We will give you all the requirements. I'm really happy. This guy will be away for some time. I was really curious. I was really surprised because my colleague has been doing a very good job at driving the requirement gathering meetings. So I couldn't understand where it was coming from. So we got on with the meeting. And later on, I saw, casually asked the customer what happened as to, there's something that you don't like about the way he drives the meeting, because I wanted to gather feedback. That would be a feedback for me also for improvement, right? So he told me what I don't like about him, Sajna. He keeps on talking, doesn't allow me to talk. Whereas you give me space, you allow me to explain things. So I was just hearing out my customer. Hmm. This often happens with us also. Like, remember, you might be having that one such friend or relative who just comes to your house and keeps on talking, and you are just you know. So in the customer meetings, that used to be the case, and I used to feel that my colleague is driving the meeting well because he is communicating so much, but actually the customer was getting pissed off because every time the customer tries to open his mouth, this guy never had the patience. I went a little, reminded myself, and thought back after I got back to my desk. I reminded in a couple of meetings. I said, yeah, I have seen that, this guy often cuts the customer when the customer explains something. Yeah, okay, I got it. I got it. This is how we'll do it for you. And he will start his explanation. This is one thing that I've found in my experience. Don't like. Okay. So definitely we have to be communicative, but don't go overboard where you don't allow the customer to speak. So in one of my previous master classes also, I had a couple of students who's like used to talk, even during the master class. I was like, my God, don't do this in a real project, okay? If you don't allow your customer to speak, he will be royally pissed. Okay, so keep this as a point, guys. We have to be communicative. That doesn't mean we don't go overboard. We need to have very good listening skills. Allow your customer to speak. Don't cut him off. If he's going off track, suppose the scope of discussion is search engine and registration, and he's going and discussing about some other feature, he's got totally gone off track, then just interrupt him politely and bring him back on track. Okay? That you can definitely do. But don't keep on just talking about how your technical team is going to implement it, and you don't allow him to show, explain his requirements. They get really pissed off. They feel that you're not adding any value to the meeting, right? So this customer actually told me, I most of the meetings I used to feel that I'm just, if he knows everything, then why am I here? It's not a productive usage of my time. But I don't allow that feeling to be generated in your customer, because then they will stop at any meetings with you. For how many of you this was a Balbon moment? Type BO. If this is a Balbon moment, if you had no idea that listening is also so important. Customers can actually lose their cool if you're not a listener. Guys, listening skills is very, very important. And that's why WebOc has outlined this as a separate skill that you should be having. Then they have a category called as interaction skills. Now, what they have put in interaction skills, I'll tell you, you need not worry much about these skills at an entry level position, but let me show you out of these skills, which are some essential skills you can take to probably your interview and discuss over there. And the interaction skills, they have included facilitation skills. Obviously, we know as a BA, we should be a good facilitator for meetings. Facilitating means conducting meetings in a proper way. Leadership and influencing skills. This is a skill senior BAs should possess. You will not have leadership skills right in day one. So through experience, you will slowly grow these leadership skills. So we can park this particular skill. Teamwork, of course, very much required in an entry level BS position also. How you are working jointly, collaboratively along with the team. Negotiation and conflict resolution. Now, some portion of it is applicable to entry level BA also, but not the entire part of it. Your negotiation skills will improve as you go into a senior BS position. And what do you think a BA will negotiate on? Let's talk about scenarios in projects today. What do you think? In what scenario will a BA try to negotiate? Good point. While prioritizing requirements, where a stakeholder is pushing hard on one particular requirement to be prioritized high, and you as a BA feel that this is of medium priority. So In this particular scenario, we can negotiate with that stakeholder that my team currently has a lot of items in the bucket for the next sprint. So if you really want to push the sixth item also, then probably, from the top five items, we'll have to bring something down. So that is negotiation, right? If you want to get something, let's bring the other items down because we have a bandwidth of doing only five features. That's an example of negotiation. Also, we do negotiation many times when the customer has asked for a change, and the technical team estimated the change might take 2 days or 4 days, whatever. We go back to the customer and say that this is what the technical teams estimates it. Many times, customer might get back saying that I don't think this is going to take 4 days. How many of you have experienced that? Customer says, I don't think this is 4 days work. This has not been estimated correctly. In that case, what I used to do is I used to take my technical lead also in the call, and then we used to get into a negotiation. Okay, if not 4 days, we will do it in 3 days for you, whatever. However, my technical team is comfortable to deliver it. So negotiation in terms of the time and effort involved, or in terms of prioritization, as you mentioned, different types of negotiation. That's why I said partly it might be applicable even to an entry level BA position, but this will grow as your seniority in the organization grows. And then teaching skills, guys. Why should BAs be good teachers? What do we teach? Tell me, where do we use our teaching skills? Think about that. We don't use our teaching skills in requirements gathering, requirement analysis. We don't. Where do you think a BA uses teaching skills? Think. No idea? Oh, you're not well versed with the teaching skills of BA. You got the point. Hmm. I'm happy. I'm happy my students are able to correlate it. That's correct. See, in a BA's role, giving product demos to the customer and all is a vital part of our role. So every sprint review that you have, you will be showcasing some features that your team has developed in that particular sprint. So what is a sprint review? It's a demo that you are giving. Your every UAT demo that you schedule with the UAT users, again, you are demonstrating how that particular feature is going to work. So you have to have good teaching skills. And also, many projects at the contract level, it's stated that once a complete product has been developed, then the BA should be involved in user training all the users from that particular department how that particular product should be used. This is also a part of the contract. Then you have to do that exactly. That is totally a different exercise where you have to plan out the user training for how many weeks it will run, and depending upon the volume of users you have to train. So for a large bank, I'll tell you how we had done it for a large bank, a very large bank, and we were developing this global application because used across geographies, West geography, UK geography, Middle East, Australia, every region the bank was located, very huge investment. Now, obviously, after the product was developed, I can't be going to each and every geography to impart user training, right? So what the 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 approach or methodology that we used was they said that your BA will train one SPOC from every region. So we for US we had about 3 to 4 SPOC because that was a large area that we had to cover. So not one SPOC will not be sufficient for the US geography. So we had 4 SPOCs for US. For UK we had 2, and then for the other regions, couple of SPOCs. So I used to train these point of contacts, and they in turn used to train the users belonging to that geography because the user base altogether itself was around 20,000. That was the volume of user base that we were seeing. So one person training them was out of scope. So that's different projects. We work out a slightly different approach. But teaching skills very, very crucial for a BA's role. And in our practical lab sessions that we are going to have, we are going to learn how we can take our teaching skills to the next level. Like I said, it's one of the vital skills we need to have. So in the practical lab sessions that are coming, what I'm planning is we will plan to have one requirement gathering session where I'll identify people who are going to play the role of a BA. We will also have a demo session where a BA is giving a demonstration of a product. So I will show you exactly how a demonstration has to be done. And I'll make 2 or 3 people perform the demonstration. We'll identify some people to do the demonstration to see how effectively they are able to do the demonstration. What are the gaps? When you see others, you'll come to know what are the gaps that get created when a person is giving a demonstration for the first time. Is that cool, guys? This is something that I'm planning for the practical lab session that we are going to have. So after interaction skills, the last skills, that is tools and technologies knowledge. Now in tools and technology, don't worry. Here we are not talking about any technical skills that a BA should have. All the business analysis tools that you learn in the master class, that is something that you'll be using hardcore on in your role as a BA. So a BA should be well versed in MS Office suite of applications, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Then comes requirement management tool, which we did Jira. Document management tool like Confluence, a modeling tool like Visual Paradigm. These are some of the tools which we call as the pocket tools. In fact, Gitmind is also a very important tool, which is used actively by a BA. These are the tools that should be always existing in a BA's toolkit. Everyone clear on this, guys? If you're clear, type CL in the chat box. So let us explore now. Thank you. Thanks for that confirmation. Tomorrow, next session actually, we'll run a crossword for the techniques chapter. That's something that I have in my mind. Crossword, we're going to play a crossword. Most of the techniques in the techniques chapter has already been discussed. There are some techniques that are pending, which we are going to discuss some portion of it today, some portion more. So from the exam per se, how do we study the techniques chapter? Very, very important, guys. Note this down. This chapter techniques is the lengthiest chapter in the book. Okay? But don't let this chapter demotivate you by the length of the chapter. What we need to learn from this chapter is something that we should know. First of all, for every technique, you should know the purpose of that technique. That is, purpose means why. Why use this technique? So it is very clearly given. Acceptance criteria is used to define requirements, outcomes, or conditions. This we saw when we wrote the user stories, right? Learn the purpose of a technique. You don't need to memorize the entire description. Read through the description, if you find anywhere any definition inside the description, like for example, this is a definition, you can mark this definition. You can highlight this as you're going through the webhook. You can highlight these kind of things. Evaluation criteria is this. Of requirements. Acceptance criteria is the minimum set of requirements. Evaluation criteria allows ranking of solutions and designs. If I have to learn it, I would learn it like this rather than memorizing the entire statement, because nobody's are going to ask you to write the statements. you have to choose, right? So acceptance criteria, minimum set of requirements that should be met, evaluation criteria, ranking of solutions and designs according to value. Then we have elements for every technique, for every technique. So memorize the name of the elements, name of these you should be knowing. And after that, the strengths and limitations of the technique. You should be knowing this. There are many questions asked about which of the following is a strength of the acceptance criteria technique. And they'll give you multiple options. You have to identify what exactly is the strength. So strengths and limitations you cannot miss. You have to. So what I mentioned is purpose. You have to understand the purpose of the technique, why that technique is used. Then description, if there is any definition, just memorize that sentence. Don't go through the entire description. Elements. Elements will describe how it is performed, how the technique is used. So have note down the names of those elements and the strengths and weaknesses you should be knowing. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you exactly from the exam per se, what are the techniques you should focus and what you can keep aside. Only if you find that interesting. You don't have to memorize all 50 if I tell you that. Is that interesting? If you want to know that, or you want to memorize all 50. So if I give you a much refined list, that will be easy for you, right? So let's look at some of the techniques which you don't need to do a deep dive. Now, let me tell you this. Whatever I'm going to tell you right now, IIBA has not excluded these techniques from the exam. Okay? I'm telling you from my experience, certain techniques, we have not seen any questions coming from that technique. That's why. So take a note of the first technique that you don't need to deep dive into. 10.3. 10.3 balance scorecard is a advanced level BA technique. Okay? Which means you can skim through this technique, understand what this technique is all about. Purpose, uska purpose dekh lo. But you don't need to get into the detail and learn details of this technique. So all the techniques that you are underlining right now is something that you can just read through and have little basic information, but don't get into details of memorizing strengths, weaknesses. 10.3 balance scorecard. 10.6 business capability analysis. This is again advanced level technique. 10.8 business model canvas. This is again, you can keep it, you can exclude it. 10.20 financial analysis. 10.20. Just above that, 10.19 estimation, again advanced level technique. And 10.38 risk analysis and management. 10.42 sequence diagrams. Yeah. Yeah, this is one list that you can mark and keep, that you don't need to deep dive into these things. Has everyone noted that? Great. So let's look at some advanced techniques that I spoke about. We will learn these techniques to see what is there in that. Balance scorecard. This technique is used by lead consultants, lead BAs, to help manage the performance of an organization or a business process. Now, this is a strategic planning and management tool. That is the reason balance scorecard is included in the curriculum of several B schools. It's a planning tool that's used in several B schools. It is used to measure organizations' performance. So let's say a company has a problem. The problem can be in terms of the revenues. They are having dipping revenues. They are having issues with staff productivity. Anything. Customer satisfaction ratings are not that good, and you are invited as a group of consultants have been invited in order to analyze what's going wrong in their organization. What are the problems? Further, balance scorecard is one of the techniques those consultants will use to analyze these dimensions that you see on the screen. They will first analyze the learning and growth area of the organization, business process, the customer dimension, and the financial dimensions. Okay. These are the 4 dimensions that the group of consultants will analyze to figure out what's going wrong in the organization, why they are facing so much of problems in terms of staff productivity, customer satisfaction ratings, and so on. So like I said, it's a strategic planning tool, guys. These techniques have nothing to do with requirement gathering and requirement analysis. So it's not an entry-level BS job. So don't try to relate it with any requirement gathering because this is not a requirement gathering technique. On similar lines for balanced scorecard, we have something called as business capability analysis. As the name suggests, what do you understand? What is this technique used for? Business capability analysis. Literally by going by the name, what you can understand. Tell me. Business capability analysis. I know it's an advanced level technique, but take a guess. What do you think business capability analysis is all about? It is all about how capable a particular business is, how capable it is in delivering this product or services that it is offering to the market. So it simply says business capability analysis describes what an enterprise is able to do. Capability, right? What is the capability you and me have? So it might be capability in terms of the resources that they have, the skills that they have, the infrastructure that they have to produce that particular product or service, deliver that service. Business capability analysis, again, an advanced level business analysis technique. What we need to learn in these techniques from the exam per se, understand the purpose and what this technique is capable of doing. Like I said, it describes what an enterprise is able to do. Don't get into the elements and things like that, okay, for this. And on similar lines, we have one more technique, which is called the business model canvas. These 3 techniques are kind of siblings to each other because all 3 of them are on the similar lines. We spoke about the first balance scorecard, then business capability analysis, and then business model canvas, which tells you how an enterprise creates and delivers value to its customer. So business capability analysis told you how capable a particular business is all about, right? Business model canvas will tell you how an enterprise can deliver value to its customer. And that is the senior consultants who are involved in these kind of engagements, they use the following parameters, the 9 blocks that they call. What they do is they go to the organization and they review the partnerships that organization has, different activities that are performed, different resources that they have, what is the value prop, what is the value that they bring to the table, customer relationships, channels, customer segments, cost structures, revenue streams. Like I told you, many of these jargons will be like bouncers to you. I know that. When you get to a senior BA's role and you get into these kind of engagements, what it will help you right now is understand that there is a role of a BA beyond requirements gathering. Understand, guys, our role is not limited to requirements gathering. The initial stages of our career will obviously be spent in requirements gathering and designing applications for the customers. But as we go up the ladder, as we become a lead BA and things like that, there is an altogether different consulting role that we can get into, where we'll be using this -2 techniques. Understand? So here, people who are using, the consultants who are using these techniques, they are not telling the customer that we will build an application for you. They are working hand in hand with the customer to understand what's going wrong in their organization and suggest to them alternate ways in which they can grow their business. So being a consultant like this, guys, is a very highly paid profession if you get it up to this level. So understand this dimension of business analysis also. Many lead BAs get into this position and play a consulting role. Are you with me so far, or have I lost you? I know these three techniques are kind of like boring. I know that. But if you're with me, please bear with me for these three techniques. Obviously, you'll not be using these techniques in your real life projects, but it's good knowledge to have that this is your next level that you can plan as a career move. So what are the three advanced level techniques that I discussed? I want everyone to type in the chat box right now. Let me see how awake you are. Type in the chat room. I'll just wait for your responses. Take your time to check the three advanced level techniques. Great. Everyone is wide awake. That means great responses I've received. So you're with me. So there is a technique in BA which talks about benchmarking and market analysis. Anyone has any idea about what benchmarking and market analysis is all about? Have you heard the word benchmarking? When we say that, someone is acting as a benchmark for us, what does that mean? Yes, that's correct. When benchmark studies are primarily done when you want to compare your organization with the people who are best in class. Let's say your organization is amongst the top 10 tier 1 companies, okay? No, the top 10 companies, one of the top 10 companies. So every organization's marketing team does this benchmarking exercise on a regular basis. What they do is they compare the company's strengths and weaknesses with that of their competitors, the best in class, the people who are above them in the ladder, to see where are the gaps and how we can reach up to that level. Benchmark is primarily done for that. Competitor kind of market analysis or competitor analysis, you can say. One of the frequently used technique in benchmarking is also the SWOT analysis, which I think is indicated as a separate technique here. It's SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay. So we spoke about benchmarking, where I told you in benchmarking, what we do is we try to understand what are our strengths, weaknesses, and try to compare it with the competitors, with the people who are best in that particular category. Benchmarking and SWOT analysis go hand in hand together, where the similar kind of thing is done in SWOT analysis. And you'll see a structure over here, guys, that is given here. This is a matrix, SWOT matrix that is called table, where they have columns for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And under those column headers, you can put whatever are your strengths and weaknesses. And now you might be wondering, where do we BAs might be using this benchmarking and SWOT analysis? So we have to understand our business analysis is spread across different areas, guys. So as a business analyst, I spent close to 4 years working for the marketing division, the central marketing team. What I was involved over there, I used to be involved in a lot of these benchmarking activities, where I had to do a market study, market research, and get data, what our competitors are doing, and how we can improve our services and all of that. So I did extensive SWOT analysis during those days. When you are doing a function like this, pre-sales, so at that portion of my career, I was completely a pre-sales BA. So in an organization, you might be called a pre-sales consultant or maybe a business development consultant, different organizations, different terminology. But you use your business analysis skills only over there. So as a pre-sales BA, you will not be doing requirements gathering, but you'll be involved in these kind of activities. SWOT analysis, benchmarking. You will also be involved in proposals. Customer sends a proposal. They want to identify a vendor who can help them develop this particular application. It is the marketing team, the pre-sales team, helps the company respond to that particular proposal. So different, or you as a BA, there is a wide, I would say, a huge list of areas where we can contribute this. It's not only the project delivery where we gather requirements. We can choose which area we want to become a BA. Bring up. Let's go and play around a little with the SQL. Otherwise, it will get a little boring and dry. This topic is a little dry and that. So I want you guys to log into Business Analysis Hub right now. Log into Business Analysis Hub. I'm going to show you exactly where that SQL tool is. So let's play around with this before we wrap up today's session. So in Business Analysis Hub, I have gone to this career growth funnel. There's a section Bootcamp project. Under that, you will see SQL practice tool. Under Bootcamp project, it's the third topic. Just click on the SQL practice tool and it will just give you an URL. It will show you a URL like this. Click on the URL and you will be with me. You will reach here. When you have reached here, just type reached in the chat box. Then we'll do it together. Great. Now let's have some fun with SQL. This is a very widely used website. Most of you, if you are from IT, you might be familiar with this. W3 Schools. You can learn a lot of new SQL syntaxes also here. Something that I did not mention in the masterclass. Also, you can learn on your own. This tool gives you that particular flexibility. Okay, so let's go to SQL select command. Now we already learned what select is used for. They are giving you the explanation what it's used for. And here what they have done is they have put in a demo database. And this is how their table looks, they have shown. Their backend table is looking like this. Customer ID, customer name. And they give you an option of writing a SQL query here. Yes. You can write your SQL query here and you can run it and see the output. Isn't that cool, guys? We can actually see if our SQL query is working. You feel it's cool, type cool. Yes, we can experiment all of that. What is the use of just learning syntax when we can't see it working? See, I ran this particular query and I got the output. It showed me so many number of records retrieved 91 and customer name and city is there. Now let me just change this query. Let me put aspect. Now showing me all. See all the columns. Now let me change. I want you guys to write along with me. let's change this query. Select customer name where city equal to London. Let's do that. Okay. Let's modify this and put customer name. Wherever I'm making mistake, I want you guys to outline that for me. If my query is not working, that's how you learn. Where city equal to London, I said. I'm just going to write London in this raw format. Let's see what happens. Okay. It gave me an error. Could not prepare the statement. So I know something is wrong. Can anybody tell me what is wrong? What is the mistake that I made? Come on. What should I have done? Good catch. This is how we learn together. Here, I put double quotes. Anything else I missed out, guys? Get my query and say, no, I don't want a star. I want customer name only. Only customer name I want. All customers from where city is equal to London. Okay, I should put single quotes. Okay, that. But let me see with double quotes. If it's not working, then I'll put single quotes. Let's see. I got the output. All these customer names. Now let me see whether these customers actually belong to London. Okay, let me verify that. So this is how you guys also should run queries and see whether the records are being fetched is correct or not. Let me see, along with the customer, let me say, show me also the city. Okay. So these are the proper customers belonging to London. Okay. Now let me change this to single quote and see. Like one of you mentioned, let me put a single quote and see if that's working. Yes, also was able to fetch records. Now let's do something. Let's run something differently. All of you should run the, don't just keep watching my screen. Try running multiple queries and tell me if you have run a different query. So I can try that. So now in select star, it's showing all these columns. Now let me pick up something that can be a where filter. Here, instead of where city equal to London, let me first do a select star and see how many records are there. What is the next level of filter I can apply, guys? From this data, this is the entire data that is there in their database. What can I try out? Something new? Yeah, correct. Both works. Where country equal to Germany and city equal to Berlin. Okay. Two clauses we'll put here. And operator we'll use where country equal to Germany and city equal to Berlin. No result. It did not find any results. But there was a record, right? I made some mistake, I think. Additional space. Huh? Can anybody tell me what is the mistake that I made? Now, when I do a select star from customers, it shows me records where Berlin and Germany are together. What is the mistake? Good job. Yes, I want you guys to point out the mistakes like this. So, which brings us to the conclusion that it is case sensitive. The data that we put inside the single quotes is case sensitive. That means if you are putting it small case and the actual database is having it in uppercase, it might not be able to fetch it. Also, if you give the name of a wrong column name, suppose customer name, suppose instead of asterisk, I give customer name here and I give a space. Gives me an error. No such column. So it has to exactly match whatever is the name that is there in the data. Everyone got it? It's a good tool to play around and see your output. Yeah, I personally absolutely love this tool because all that we are learning in SQL is totally backend commands, right? So with nothing we can see on the screen. Like when it comes to when I teach you how to create a backlog in Jira, I can show you the actual tool. You can access the tool. You can create your own backlog, create user story. You can do the activities along with me in the masterclass. But when it comes to these backend commands, we can't play around with these backend commands. There's no tool. So one of my previous student had suggested that this is a very good website, ma'am. It allows you to play around with all these backend commands. And I explored this and I found that it is very useful for our masterclass students to actually understand. So what you will need uh, more and more practice is practice with the select command because you can use different filters. Okay, we use a not filter. You can apply some not filters and see if it's giving you proper syntax. So there is a separate section for that, guys. See, keep looking at the left hand side menu. SQL with and or not. Go there and create some or not formats. Order by you can use. Insert into is again a syntax that you'll have to practice a lot. So they have given you the exact syntax of how to insert data into a database. And you can change these values to whatever values you want to add. And run the SQL query. It will give you a message, record created successfully. For every SQL command, there is a way in which the the way in which a query can be run in the backend. So all throughout this website, you will see they are just playing around with the customer database. So they have created one table called as customer, and they allow you to manipulate that database, insert records in it, update it, delete it, and all of that. So on the right-hand side panel, guys, if you see, there are certain databases they have given additionally. Employee database. You want to use a different database, order details database. You can click on that database name, orders, shippers, and you can play around with that also. So I saw this right now, actually, different categories are also given as your database. Did you see that, guys, on the right-hand side? Additional databases for you to play around. So it's not just the customer database. There are an additional set of databases you can play around with. This tool was, I believe, this tool will be beneficial for you to learn further SQL. Okay. So next session, we'll take our learning to the next level. What we're going to do is we'll complete the rest of the techniques, and we will also do a small retest. We'll do the techniques crossword. Yes, that's one thing that I mentioned. We will solve a crossword for techniques. That will give you greater confidence that you are able to understand what technique is all about. And I'm going to give you a list specifically to refer to techniques. Any queries, you can always put in the support groups and I'll respond back to it. If any particular technique is not clear, we can repeat it. That's not a problem. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next session. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Take care.